when I speak to people and on debates, they ask whether all 25 or 26 MPs have been. I'm not saying about Bengaluru. I won't contest that. You've done a lot personally. Have you effectively been able to raise issues? For example, the Kaveri issue. Second issue I would want to ask you about is the drought that Karnataka is facing. Do you think MPs should do more on specifically Karnataka larger issues?
Niranjan, let me give you 2-3 instances and tell me if this has happened in any other time. Okay, with the pace at which it has happened in any other government. For example, before 2019, most of the central government examinations would take place in 2 languages, in Hindi and English. I, along with a few MPs from Karnataka, raised this issue in the parliament and demanded that rural, banking exams and central CAPF, CRPF type exams must all be conducted in regional languages also, and Kannada should be given primacy. For the first time, Government of India made a change and allowed for 18 regional languages in examinations. It did not happen under the Congress. If today young people in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, etc. are able to write central government examinations in the mother tongue, it's because of our government, it's because of the interventions of us MPs from Karnataka. Look at the Mahadai issue. The DPR for the Mahadai issue was approved during our government, during the Modi government. The Congress says we have not done enough. What were they doing about Mahadai when they were in power 10 years of the UPA? Second, regarding the Kaveri, every single time the Kaveri issue has come up before the Supreme Court or other tribunals, without an exception, the Modi government and the BJP government earlier, even during Vajpayee's time, has always filed affidavits in favor of the state of Karnataka. Even the original Kaveri award was later modified and another additional 14 TMC of water was sanctioned to Karnataka upon the central government's insistence. So when there is justice gone out of the way and justice is given to the state, the credit is not given to BJP. But random allegations are made that, BJP does not speak for Kaveri, Mahadai. When did Mahadai DPR get approved during our time? When did Kaveri additional, modification of the original award happen during our time? Every single time Kaveri issue is, debated, whether it's at tribunals, whether it's at the Supreme Court level, without an exception, central government, Modi government, has always stood in favor of the state's water interests. One second. The Upper Bhadra project. It was in the last budget that Upper Bhadra project got 5,400 crores allotted in the central government budget. What were they doing? Kalasa Banduri. Who gave the support? It was the Modi government which gave the support. So all of these projects that they speak of, whether it is the question of language, because for a state like Karnataka, which is a non-Hindi speaking state, language is a very important issue.
It is.
It is only under the Modi government's new national education policy that for the first time, regional languages, mother tongue education is now given a primacy. What was the Congress trying to do?
Issue of Kaveri water and the water being released until recently, about 3-4 months back, when it became an issue, people were protesting. Do you think our MPs maybe could have pressed the centre more to intervene in some way so that the water is not released to Tamil Nadu? I mean, could that have been possible?
We must understand how the system works. When you belong to a political party which is in power, you do not go out to media and put pressure on the government. There are official channels through which you do it. And how is that reflected? It is reflected, the work of the MPs is reflected, of ruling party MPs is reflected when the government in power, the party that you belong to, when it files an affidavit in the Supreme Court before the Kaveri Water Tribunal, before the authority in favor of your state. We did that. And in every instance, the central government representative, the Secretary of Water Resources Department, Government of India, has always taken a stand that has favored the state of Karnataka. And you remember the statement that D.K. Shivkumar gave after Karnataka suffered an adverse order and we were made to release water to Tamil Nadu. He said, I welcome this order. So somebody who goes, before media, goes on record and welcomes an adverse order is seen or labelled as somebody protecting the interests of Karnataka, whereas MPs who through official channels have communicated the concerns of the state to the central government authorities, got an affidavit filed officially at various tribunals and government authorities of the central government, speak in favor of the state, try to protect the interests of the state, they are labelled as not doing enough. What is this other than politics that is, based on lies?
Water has become a major issue. There is a huge shortage, right? Now, is that mismanagement, and at what level? And is there any solution, do you think, as a parliamentarian to this issue?
Well, I think, Niranjan, there are, the problem is not something that, is created today or yesterday. The last major water project, so to speak, for the city was in 2012. When we started work on the Kaveri 4 and Kaveri 5. Since then, Bengaluru has grown leaps and bounds. Literally 1.4 lakh new water connections the BWSSB has given over the last few years. Unfortunately, the all governments, I wouldn't want to get into party politics here, because every government has got a chance to govern the city and the state, has neglected the health of the city's lakes and are underwater as a result. If you see Bengaluru, our city gets water 110 kilometers away, pumped upstream from TK Halli. So in all of Asia, Bengaluru has perhaps receives one of the most inefficient and most expensive water. So we don't have, a river source very nearby, which is why in his wisdom, Kempe Gowda, who founded the city, had built a series of lakes to provide succor for the people of the city. Which is why when the lakes were vibrant, when lakes were thriving, it was so, groundwater was never a problem. So Bengaluru needs about 2,100 MLD of water per day, and we get around 1,450 MLD of water from Kaveri. The remaining 600-700 MLD of water is provided through the groundwater, through our bore wells. The reason why the crisis has become so acute this time is the groundwater has dried up, the bore wells have dried up because the groundwater levels have gone seriously low. Many of our major lakes, whether it is Vartur Lake, whether it is our Sarjapur Lake, whether it is Agara, Bellandur, these lakes have all dried up, further again making the problem more acute. While the water that we are getting from Kaveri has remained constant, the groundwater level depletion has caused the acute crisis. Even though law mandates rainwater harvesting mandatorily, most of the houses in Bengaluru has still not done the rainwater harvesting properly. So we need to, as a campaign, state, public representatives, NGOs, civil society, everybody drive a campaign to actually make rainwater harvesting mandatory in every house in Bangalore. That's the only way we can recharge our bore wells. Second, there are around 4.5 lakh bore wells in the city that privately people are running and people have dug up. Builders, apartments, individual owners, etc. In most of these places, you don't have a water recharge pit next to a bore well, because we have absolutely filled up everything with concrete. So naturally there is no option for no possibility for groundwater recharge to take place. So I think we have to revisit those bore wells by now, actually, on a war footing, start drilling recharge pits around the bore wells. The other thing that also needs to be done is, I was speaking to a water expert recently, and he was telling that Bengaluru gets around 19 TMC of rain water, and we hardly save any of that, and we hardly use any of that to recharge water. And if you have seen over the last few years, we have gone on a spree of white topping and concretizing almost every road in the city. By doing so, we don't allow water to seep inside the ground and recharge aquifers. So I think even that urban design has to be revisited. And we also need to make heavy investments through STPs near our lakes, so that the treated water can be used, sent to the lakes, and that is going to keep the lakes living and thriving. So I think these are things that need to be done. Also, the Kaveri phase 5 is going to be completed in May. So that is additionally going to give us some more water. But that is it. You will not get any more Kaveri water.
Correct.
Unless you, of course, take it away from Mandya. That is the only way. So you either tell your farmers in Mandya to stop growing sugarcane, stop growing rice, and at their expense, Bengaluru will have to get its water.